Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Streaming Synergy. Here today I have my friend TheBladeMartial, and we've got a few topics we're going to talk about today, including the Epic Game Store versus Apple and Google. We're going to talk a little bit about MMOs, some of the burnout that comes with them, and things that we're excited for in the future. And we're also going to talk a little bit about action RPGs and kind of similar feelings on that, the burnout and stuff that comes with it. So, yeah, let's get started on that.
Yeah.
What about the, you've heard about the Epic Game Store versus Apple and Google, I'm sure, right?
Oh, man. The TLDR. Epic Games decided to bypass Google Play and Apple's iOS App Store requirements by in-app purchases have to go through their stores. So what they did was they allowed the player base for Fortnite to bypass the in-app store purchasing and go directly through to Epic Games rather than the platform that hosts the game on the mobile device. This is a really interesting play, and it, in all aspects that I've seen so far, it looks like it was very intentional, because within an hour or two of Apple pulling Fortnite from the iOS store, they launched a 64-page something lawsuit already ready to go. They had marketing campaigns, hashtag, what is it? Hashtag Save Fortnite or Free Fortnite, something like that.
Yeah, did you see the video?
Yeah. Oh. I have a lot of opinions on this, so we can. But that's the TLDR. Am I missing anything?
No, that's pretty much the gist. There, I guess with Apple and Google, they have a 30% cut on any games that they're selling on their platforms, and with mobile, they're pretty much the gatekeepers to all of gaming.
Yep.
That's why we don't see, like a Steam app or whatever. I mean, maybe that'll come in the future, especially if this plays out a certain way or whatever. And so, yeah, Epic's taken it to that whole aspect. They're trying to loosen up the government rules on things like that to, in my opinion, become a big player in that whole thing. And I think, what was it? They had a way so people could bypass Apple and Google. And I think on top of it, were they given like a 20% discount to like almost incentivize people to do it that way?
Yeah, it was. I think that from what I saw, it was they did a side-by-side comparison in the iOS version of Fortnite. So if you could choose to do the Apple Pay, which is whatever dollar amount at 30% cut, and then right next to it was the bypass Apple Store and come to us directly, which you get a 20% savings on top of what you would pay here. Yeah. So it's a no-brainer. It's like you're looking at whole wheat and whole wheat at the grocery store, and one is 20% cheaper for the exact same item. You're gonna go for the one that's 20% cheaper.
Yeah. So, and it was definitely clever. And like you said, they knew because within an hour, I believe it was, they had lawsuits ready to go, and they shot at Apple and Google. And I don't know if you saw as well, but they're not asking for money or any kind of like refunds, nothing like that.
No damages are being sought. And that is, so I'll throw this out here now. Jim Sterling and Devin Nash both did fantastic videos explaining what the theory is behind the lawsuit and the instigation to basically do something that they knew was going to get Fortnite pulled from the Apple Store and or the Google Play Store. So if we can, we gotta throw those links into the video after all is said and done. But I highly recommend folks go take a look at it, because it's definitely a couple of great, well-informed perspectives from folks at different ends of the industry. You've got Devin Nash, who's got this massive experience and knowledge base in the streaming gaming platform world, and then Jim Sterling is this career-long games reviewer slash commenter slash industry insider. So their perspectives are very blunt, and they're very straight to the point. But you did touch on something that I kind of wanted to spend at least a couple of minutes chatting about, which is the fact that they're not seeking damages. They're not looking for monetary compensation, and they being Epic Games, and they're not seeking an injunction or injunction relief. Basically, Epic is coming out saying, look, we don't want you to compensate or cover us in any way, shape, or form. We want the government to come in and tell Apple and Google to GTFO on you being the only store available on your mobile platform. And that is a huge deal.
Yeah. I'm sure that's going to change the way that it's handled in there too. It like speeds up the process because they don't have to figure out any kind of money. Simultaneously, it's making them look good.
Yep.
Because, you know, from their standpoint, it's about people and money and more options and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really, really smart. And they must have had this planned out from like months and months. And I'm curious too, if they have like an app ready to go, because if they happen to win on this and like the rules of like app stores basically on your phone, if that changes, are we going to see Steam ones? Are we going to see an Epic Game Store one? How fast is that going to happen? Are other games going to, you know, hop in on this? Because with Apple and Google, they monopolize that right now. So there's no reason for other games to even attempt it.
Well, and so I'm in the IT industry. I deal with servers and infrastructure and the underlying technology behind how websites or applications are delivered to the end user. So from my perspective, and my professional experience in computer information systems, it's one of the things where you absolutely are at least 75% done with your own app store running on whatever platform, whatever operating system that you're targeting before this lawsuit would drop. It would make no logistical sense whatsoever for a company to go after this kind of baited lawsuit. You know, we're going to bypass the 30% iOS store rules and we're going to sell directly and cut Apple out. They knew they were going to get pulled from the iOS store. Immediately they knew this. So yeah, you would have had a lot of pre-work, framework and infrastructure and code, and all of this stuff is already well underway, if not into a very mature state. But this is all speculation. I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for Epic. I don't regularly know. Like, this is just logic and a breadcrumb conclusion is what I'll call it. So in my perspective, in my opinion, I genuinely think that Epic not only knows what the hell they're doing, and they're doing a very, very good job of it, but they're coming out with a lot of ammunition ready to go with whatever the actual legislation does or doesn't do to that environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have it from like both angles too. They have it from like a fairness type of direction, but then they also have a way to rally all these gamers behind them.
Yeah. So, okay. There's 2 points there. The cynical BladeMartial is gonna weigh on both. So the first point being the fairness factor. Fairness is debatable. Their platforming, that the Apples and the Googles have a monopolistic hold over their operating system's platform of sales. That is an absolutely true statement. Apple and Google both reap 30% across the board, regardless of it's you pay to download the app and you have it as a permanent license, or you're using real money transactions to supplement your gaming experience on whatever game it is. So that's a lot of fucking money. Fortnite makes a lot of money.
Well, so, that's why they also don't have to ask for any damages, because they're going to make way more if this goes through.
Yeah. So I get that perspective, but at the same time, there's a technical balance there. And Apple's used this argument for 30 years now, which is Apple has closed their architecture. Basically, no other manufacturer can produce hardware or impress or any kind of submission of code to the way that Apple's family of systems and family of applications are written and produced and developed and designed. That's 100% Apple. And the premise is that if you have one single pane of control, you can guarantee that my applications work on all of my devices because I'm the one who controls how those devices operate. That does make logistical sense, but you have $2,000 MacBooks that are getting their butts kicked by $750 third-party manufacturer in the benchmark tests. And there's your price inflation, your price bloat. So I get it. There's two sides to that argument there. But the whole like freedom thing, it's Epic Games. They're not like liberating a country that's being terrorized by, radical religious forces. It's a gaming company that's going after a much larger technology company. It's not real freedom here.
Well, and I feel like even if they win, it might seem like a win for everybody if like prices on things are a little bit lower, but I feel like it's gonna balance out. Like they're going to be like, okay, they don't get 30% anymore. We're going to raise our prices 30% and you're going to buy direct. I mean, it could go that way. I don't think it would be that way immediately because people would just be like, hey, what the hell? Look at this. But I feel like it could go that way. But I will say too, if this goes the way that they want it to, it might be really cool for the sake of, like Steam or any other gaming thing, whether it's like Galaxy of Games or whatnot, to get their foot in the door on having a mobile app platform as well, especially where like outside of like the US, mobile games are where it's at, like for money and everything like that. They're just raking in so much. So of course they want to get their foot in the door on that. And from that aspect, I say like, that's cool. Yeah, Epic Games is going to benefit the most, but it might allow other people to benefit as well, other game companies and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like if they want to get involved now the way things are, they still can. But I imagine that 30% really is like a slap in the face for a lot of them.
30% is a lot.
Yeah.
Most individuals don't even get taxed in the United States at above 22%. And that's your income tax. Like this is Fortnite virtual bucks for a panda costume tax. Like it's not like you're not guaranteeing medical care or ambulance and school buses to your area. It's fucking decorative pickaxe, it doesn't really matter, folks. So like I get the premise, but I do want to leap onto that second point. And I need to give credit where credit is due. Epic Games marketing team is impressive. I have to hand it to them. They've done an amazingly impressive job assembling this whole don't let 2020 be 1984 as this, for really and bluntly, a bitch slap to Apple. Like they just came out like hand ready to go, wound up and just walloped. But it's all marketing. It's not true freedom. They are not fighting for the consumer. Epic Games and Apple and Google, they don't care about Arcblight and TheBladeMartial. We're just cash cows for them. They don't give a shit if we have freedom of choice of what gaming platform we spend money on and they do or don't take 30% of the cut. Like that's not my 30%. I pay $10 for a $10 game in the iOS store or the Play Store or on Steam. I don't pay $13. I'm not shouldering the cost of that 30%. The developers or the publishers are. Right. So the premise that Epic Games is pushing in their marketing materials is we're trying to fight for the freedom of the gamers so that you can choose to play whatever game you want to play wherever you want to. No. That already exists. You can play Fortnite on an Android phone or on an iOS phone already. Like, that is not what they're actually fighting for here. They're fighting for a piece of that app store market. And that's
right.
where I'm like, I gotta go bravo to the Epic marketing team, because they've done a phenomenal job of making it a compelling argument. But it's smoke and mirrors. In my opinion, it is truly corporate bullshit, smoke and mirrors.
Oh, absolutely. And the only thing I can say is I don't know. I don't know if it's better or worse. I almost feel like neutral. Like, any way that it goes, us as people and gamers and everything like that, I feel like we're going to be in like the same position. Same stuff is going to come out of our pockets to cover these things.
Yeah.
I don't think life is just going to be like, oh, it's so much more convenient now. I mean, we'll see, but I don't know. I think it's going to go in that direction.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I saw too when I was reading more into this stuff is, I don't know how long ago it happened, so I don't know if this is like old news or something you've already heard about or anything like that. But did you see the whole Apple isn't going to allow cloud-based like games or cloud server games or whatever, you know, like Google Stadia and Xbox Cloud or whatever, X Cloud? Apple said they're not going to allow streaming games like that on their devices, saying because it's they can't verify the integrity of these games that are being played on their devices.
I don't, if someone's watching this in audio only, I hurt both of my eyeballs from rolling them so hard with that statement. I had not heard this. It doesn't actually surprise me. Again, this kind of goes back to the earlier point I made, where Apple's psychotic about locking down their platforms to their level of control and comfort. That actually lines up with their business model, and that does make sense from Apple's business perspective.
Yeah, especially
have you seen the Stadia reviews?
Oh, they're bad. Yeah.
I don't
care. I don't care at all. But it is funny that they would have a stance on it. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, well, if Microsoft is having theirs and Google has Stadia, like Google and Microsoft are almost hand in hand with a lot of things anyway. And they're the competitors for Apple, like the direct ones. So of course Apple's going to be like, nah. So we're either just not going to have any kind of streaming games through the phone on Apple, or we're going to see, you know, the new Apple Stadia fucking thing. And I'm sure that'll be convoluted as all hell. But I feel like those streaming, I don't even know what to call them.
Services?
Yeah, I was going to say it's not really a platform because that's the whole point. But yeah, those streaming services, I guess, I think those are a ways off from being like super crazy popular anyway.
Yeah, I would agree.
So we'll see. I think Apple probably has like 4 or 5 years or something to figure out what it's going to do with that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like I have a couple of kids that are, you know, because of the whole COVID stuff going on, we're still doing school from home right now. And that's like a Zoom meeting for the classroom, right? Like, it is not the most amazing quality at all. So the premise that all gamers or any gamer could stream a AAA title with next to zero latency on a mobile platform from their servers as a streaming cloud service, we're not there yet. We've still got a ways to go.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has to have like really insane internet for that to work effectively. And I still feel like latency has got to be so difficult to figure out with those. You got to have AI predictive shit to eliminate that.
And depending on your type of ISP, you know, like if you have a DSL connection, the further you are away from your junction box, the more latency you have. I mean, you could literally cross a 5-foot yard and your neighbor's got 20 millisecond ping, and at your house you've got 79 millisecond ping. It's all there's so many unknown variables that you as a streaming provider can't truly model and predict that out efficiently for every potential case. That's nightmare fuel right there for anybody who's designing that.
I mean, I will say if they ever fine tuned that, if they ever got like the latency and ping and everything like totally figured out, yeah, I mean, that would be awesome to, pay whatever, like $20 a month, have this streaming service that's going to give you the performance of like a $2,000 computer or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would sign up for that if that whole latency thing wasn't there. Because I tried, what is it? NVIDIA's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I tried theirs. I can't even think. I can't even think of what it is. But yeah, I tried it and I couldn't do it. It was too... The display quality wasn't even that great. It was almost like fuzzy and everything. And I was like, no, I'm good.
Linus Tech Tips, and I know I'm totally plugging other media outlets right now, but Linus Tech Tips on YouTube has done several reviews of different streaming services, both as like a pure gaming platform, as well as like a desktop experience where you can then plug in your Steam account and you can then stream on a dedicated gaming server that's siloed just for you if you pay the appropriate monthly fee. So they've done some really good benchmarking around this stuff. It's getting better, but we're not quite there yet. We're really not from an infrastructure and technological standpoint. We're close, but we're not quite there.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting because then mobile gaming might be kind of cool. It wouldn't fully be mobile gaming. You'd be streaming, from a crazy ass computer to your phone and have really crazy graphics and everything like that. So it'll be interesting when it gets there, but yeah, it's not going to be for a while.
Well, I mean, in our adulthood, our adult lifetime alone, we've gone from Nokia Snake games to, Fortnite on your iOS device.
Yeah.
That's an impressive technological leap. But we're not quite there for like your $3,000 high powered gaming rig, right? Sitting in a dedicated data center talking to your phone. We're not quite there yet.